If you think you're going to do it in your own strength, then you know what? Yeah, you can do it.
COVID, it's been helping people move their businesses from offline or brick and mortar to online.
Systems are more important than skills as an entrepreneur today.
It's totally okay to reinvent yourself multiple times, especially when you're an entrepreneur.
Welcome to Profitable Coaching Conversations with WendyY Bailey. If you're a coach, speaker, or industry expert, you're in the right place for sales and marketing wisdom and insight to grow your coaching business. Now, here's your host, Income Acceleration Mentor, WendyY Bailey.
Ransaw-Smith, and I'm the founder of the Personal Elevation Lab. We are a full-service consultancy, visibility consultancy that works exclusively with professional women and professional executives to help them elevate their visibility, credibility, influence, impact, and most importantly, their profitability within their organization and within their industry. And I am absolutely delighted to be here today to interview my friend, my colleague, WendyY. So first, let me say, Wendy, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Jennifer. Thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate you.
I ditto that all over, highlight and italicize it. So what we're going to do is we're going to level set, and we're going to, before we take all the things that you do so well out and showcase them to the audience, what I want to do is I really want to take a step back and introduce the audience to who you are and how you came to be. So let's get started by just briefly telling the audience a little bit about yourself and what brought you to this journey and why we're sitting here today.
Okay. What an awesome question. Let's see, I've been in my business for more than 18 years, and I came from corporate America. I was a senior manager and in information technology and telecommunications, and I was voted off the island. And when I was voted off the island, I decided that I no longer wanted to go back into that IT telecom space because I felt like, you know, it's very much a demeaning kind of role you're in as a woman, and you're in a male-dominated industry. So I was battered and bruised, as I like to say, every single day by something going on in my department. But I loved what I did. But I thought when I was voted off the island, I don't want to go back to that. I want to do something different. And at the time, Oprah had Cheryl Richardson on her show. And it was the first time I had heard the term coaching in the context of working with individuals and businesses and professionals and executives. And at the end of the show, they put up a bunch of links to look at, you know, to investigate coaching so that you could see and learn more about coaching. And I started following those links, and I looked and I looked and I looked. And the more I read, the more I felt like it was what I needed to at least investigate. And then I started out getting my coach training. I went to Coach U, Coachville, Coach Training Alliance, and the Fearless Living Institute. And once I felt like I was equipped to coach people, I hung out my shingle. So my shingle has been hung out since June 2nd, 2002. So it's been more than 18 years that I've been in this business. And I started out working with people who were parallelpreneurs or dualpreneurs. They had a side gig. They had a full-time gig that was funding their side gig. And they wanted to somehow replace that income. And so we worked on strategies to help them do that. Then I evolved to the point that I was coaching coaches because other coaches and colleagues would come to me and say, well, how do you do this? And what did you do when this happened? So that kind of shifted sort of who I was coaching just a little bit. And then what really blew the doors off in terms of who I was coaching was when I decided I was at home in group coaching. And I taught for many years coaches and speakers and industry experts how to design, deliver, and sell, as in fill, profitable group coaching programs using neurolinguistic programming, because that's part of my background as well as doing the neurolinguistic programming certification. So anyway, that's kind of what got us here in terms of me being a coach. And I just have never looked back. I love what I do. I love the clients that I serve. And I'm pretty good at it too, Jennifer.
I think that I've heard that from a lot of people. So I actually thank you for that. And it brings up a lot of questions. And I have one that I want to ask you. But one of the things that I wanted to just highlight is to your viewers and things is the fact that, see what WendyY did when she saw something that really resonated with her. The fact that you saw Cheryl and you went down that path. And I think that is such a testament to being able to have 18 years under your belt. But a lot of times we ignore that still small voice. So kudos for you. And everyone has been able to benefit because you were obedient and listening to what you were being called to do. But one of the things that comes to mind immediately as an entrepreneur myself, definitely not as long as you are. However, knowing how difficult it is in this industry and how many businesses flounder pretty quickly because it really is tough to be self-sustaining and really get out there and get traction and build a reputation for yourself within the industry. Yeah. So you're doing it for 18 years. So what do you think that attributes to the longevity of your success?
Wow. There are a couple of things. I think that in 18 years, I've learned that it's okay to reinvent yourself personally and professionally whenever the call arises.
Can we say that again?
Yeah, it's totally okay to reinvent yourself.
Yes.
Multiple times, especially when you're an entrepreneur. Absolutely. Even outside of being an entrepreneur, you need to be okay and open to reinventing yourself, right?
Yeah.
And then I also think that rebranding made a difference because the evolution of my business is like 3 different business names, even though they were all under the same umbrella. But I symbolically closed the business at the end of 2015 that I had been serving in for 13 years. And in January, I relaunched, I rebranded because I felt like not just me, but my clients in the marketplace needed to have some clarity about what I do.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So the name of my business is WendyY Bailey Global Enterprises, but I'm doing business as Business Beyond Limits.
Yes.
And it provides that rebranding, that clarity, that reinvention, that evolution of me and my brand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How would you describe your body of work to the audience?
Wow. In 2016, when I rebranded, and I came back to the marketplace. I had been out of the marketplace for about 15, 18 months due to illness. And when I came back, I was driving and I was thinking one day, and I was like, what is it I'm doing? Like if I put it all together and looked at the last 13 years, what does it say I'm doing? And what popped into my head is the income acceleration roadmap. That's what it is today. I didn't actually formulate it until mid 2016, right? Like the middle of the year, like June, July. And the income acceleration roadmap is really a picture, a visual diagram of the work that I've done. There are 5 silos or 5 key areas. The I charge for that mindset, ideal client clarity, personalized profitability planning, inspired action based on daily, weekly, and monthly income producing activities, and then sales mastery. And running underneath all of those, across all of those, is marketplace influence and visibility.
Okay.
So that became the visual for my body of work.
Okay. Wonderful. No, go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I encourage people who have been in their businesses, no matter what type of business you're in, to take a look at what you've been doing over a period of time or what you're doing as you go forward, because what you'll find is they are connected. It's sort of like that meme that you see out there that shows the trajectory of a business going up, right? An entrepreneur going up or the business going up and growing. Well, the entrepreneurial path is a little bit different. It kind of zigs and zags. It goes up, but it zigs and zags and zigs and zags. And I kind of think that's what I mean when I say reinvention, rebranding, having clarity, and always pausing to take a look at what your body of work looks like and how things are related.
Okay, I am feeling great. And now we want to talk about why we're here. And so I don't get it, my tongue twisted. Let's talk about why you decided to create the Profitable Coaching Conversations show. Now say that quickly.
Yeah, 3 times. Yeah. Yeah. Well, the short story is I've been an avid social media user for years. I'm probably one of the early adopters, like 2007, 2008. And when I came to social media, it was very small at that time. And so you knew a lot of the people that you were chatting with and liking their post. And I remember Twitter had probably about 100,000 people on it at that time. And now it's like probably got billions, I don't know. But it was easy to keep track of where people were, what was going on with them, and even have a dialogue on Twitter specifically. Same thing with Facebook. Video was not in existence back then. So you really relied on your connection to a small group of people. And even as my Facebook profile grew and I maxed out at 5,000 several times, I realized there were a lot of people I didn't know. And last year, after just really marketing a lot on social media, I got burned out. I was like exhausted from it because it takes a lot to actually use social media to market your programs and your services and things like that. I think it takes a lot. And I was doing the most, I was really doing the most. And so when I got burned out, I was like, okay, I'm just not going to post for a while. So I kind of disappeared and I started watching people on social media and I started seeing what other people were posting. And it was good that they were posting stuff. So I kind of kept track of people. But when I got burned out, I started thinking, what do I want to do next? I don't want to do something that I've done before. I don't want to go back into that social media marketing frenzy anymore. And the thing that kept coming up in the back of my mind, Jennifer, was podcast. And every time I thought about it, I was like, I kind of turned it off in my brain. Everybody's doing a podcast. But when George Floyd was murdered, I realized that I had an opportunity to use my social media for activism. And so what you see me posting a lot these days, especially on Facebook and Instagram, are, things about injustice, racial injustice, things about, what's happening in the climate of racial injustice, news information, stories that speak to what's happening in the world, even things about the pandemic, right? Mm-hmm. So when the pandemic hit and the whole country went into shutdown, I said, okay, now it really is time for me to do something with this podcast. And I feel like I came to it I feel like it was a divine download. Let me put it that way. God said to me, you've got to do this podcast and it needs to be video podcast. And I was like, well, I've been doing video for a while. That's probably not a big deal for me. But it's sort of like, what is it? The scripture about Moses and not wanting to accept the call that the Lord gave him because he didn't feel like he was equipped. Yeah. Well, God equips the ones he calls. So for me, it really has been this unraveling, this real, everything has shown up that I needed at the right time to build this podcast. And what I did was I went back to a program that I created in 2013 and I studied podcast creation, podcast marketing. I went into like a student mode when I understood I was going to be doing the video podcast. So when I went back and I looked at programs, one of the key things that came out of one of the podcast training that I did was you need to have 3 things if your podcast is going to be amazing. You need to have a podcast with one name. The same name is what your online course is. And if your brand is that name, then according to Steve Olsher, who's the podcast god, if you will, you've got the podcast domination trifecta. And I just thought that was so cool that he said that. So when I went back to the program that I had created, I was like, okay, I've got this program. I want to turn it into an online course. Tease, that's coming down the line. I said, I've got the podcast. I can now name the podcast Profitable Coaching Conversations. And I got real serious about being a brand, like a flagship brand for Business Beyond Limits. So Profitable Coaching Conversations is also a brand now.
Yes.
So I've got the podcast domination trifecta.
And see, what's so fantastic to me is that I'm learning as we're speaking, because how long have you and I known each other?
2011.
Okay.
We met in 2011.
It's been a long time. And I actually, now that you say this, remember the program Profitable Coaching Conversations. So yeah, so like I did not take it in the context of there when I heard it this time, because I know that you're always helping people elevate their conversations and really fearlessly get out there and learn how to get the moolah. So I make the connection, but now that you say that, I'm like, yes, I remember early in our conversations and our relationships, that being a program. So congratulations. I love everything about what you just said. I especially love the fact that you are not afraid to reinvent and paying attention. And I think that it's such a good testament to what's going on right now, because so many people are finding themselves at a crossroads. Whether they were in corporate, whether they're entrepreneurs, realizing that the world that we lived in is not the world that it's going to be moving forward, even if iterations change, that right now we all need to be more agile and flexible. And it's often difficult to do when you get older. And it is, the reason that some of us get stuck or paralyzed or fearful and find ourselves continuously trying to do something that we're not feeling necessarily ignited and enthusiastic about. And so I really love how you've been able to take what you're moving forward and connect it to something foundationally that you have been doing a long time ago and really come out there. And I definitely, by the name, as a person who does branding, but recognizing that there is no disputing in what you're going to learn if you tune in to Profitable Conversations. So if you're listening right now and you don't want to have profitable conversations and you want to have poverty-based conversations, then this is not the podcast for you.
Right.
But if you're learning to equip yourself with the boldness and learning from people who are out there doing it, and seeing examples, because I believe storytelling is incredible. And I believe that when you hear stories, it usually resonates with the psyche on another level that people, get and are able to regurgitate later. So I think, and I would love to encourage everyone to tune in, because this is what you need to know. Excellent. So what I think we're going to do right now is we're going to take.
Hi, I'm Gina Calvano, and you're tuned into the Profitable Coaching Conversation Show with WendyY Bailey. Like, comment, review, and subscribe now so you're notified when the next episode goes live.
Hi, I am Rodney Dow, and you're tuned into the Profitable Coaching Conversation Show with WendyY Bailey. Like, comment, review, and subscribe now so you're notified when the next episode goes live.
Hi, I'm Morgana Ray, and you're tuned in to the Profitable Coaching Conversation Show with WendyY Bailey. Please like, comment, review, and subscribe now so you're notified when the next episode goes live.
So I am Jennifer Ransaw-Smith and would love to talk about something that is incredibly important now. We're going to call it profitable wisdom. And what I want to start with you with WendyY is I want to ask you, who has been the greatest influence on you and your life?
It's funny, even though I wrote the question, I don't know that I thought about it for myself after I wrote the question. Well, I'm going to say the person who's had the greatest influence on my life has to be my mom. Okay. She's 89 years old and she's feisty and she's a fighter and, she's smart and at 89, she's still very much in control of her faculties and she pushes herself to do things. And so in my life, I've seen that, her push to do stuff and her determination and her drive. She's a retired nutrition manager at an elementary school, and she also did catering. So she retired from that as well. And I've just seen her over the course of my life fight through a lot of things. And I think that's taught me sort of tenacity and stick-to-itiveness. I think it's also taught me some vulnerability. Like it's okay because there's strength in being vulnerable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So my second question is, looking back on the longevity of your career as an entrepreneur, and then even your career in corporate America, what has been the best business advice that you've received that you think is worthy enough to not only implement yourself, but to share with your audience?
Yeah. There are actually two. I'm only going to share one because I talk about the other one in a couple of episodes later. But the one that comes to mind for me is from a colleague who is really like a jack of all trades. He does a lot of different things. He really does speak to the importance of multiple sources of income.
Okay.
And for me, in 18 years, my multiple sources of income have always really been in my business.
Okay.
And after hearing him say that, what I started doing, and I'm new in the process, just to be clear, this is something I've heard in the past year.
Yeah.
I've started to define different types of sources than just from my business. The other part of it is don't allow one source to be greater than 25% of your overall income.
Excellent.
And that was like, wow, I never thought about it that way. Okay. And then I want to add a piece that I added to it. You can't hunt and eat at the same time. And what I mean by that is if you're in business, you need to reinvest and you need to have, which means you got to have savings. You've got to another source of income that's not tied to your business that you really do need to keep reinvesting the profits into.
Yep. Excellent. I love that. And I hope everyone is paying attention because right now, generating income from multiple sources is extremely important because we're living in a time where you just don't know day to day. And for entrepreneurs and all of those that you're out there speaking, it's probably the biggest dichotomy of what's going on right now because we're in such a state of flux globally. However, we're at a place where a lot of people are doing extremely well financially. Mm-hmm. So you have a lot of businesses, unlike the Great Depression, and not at all acknowledging that there are those that are affected. But generally speaking, a lot of the people who would be listening to your audience and who are going out there and having these profitable conversations with people, there is a lot of money out there. And so I want people to recognize that. And so what I wanted to say and pivot by asking, since we're talking all about the Benjamin's baby,
yes,
what's the biggest sale that you've ever made? When you look back on your career and you're talking about, wow, I got this, used my tools, had my conversation, and all of a sudden looked at my ka-ching and was like, hot darn.
Okay, there have been a couple, but the one that stands out to me was a client hired me to actually write the curriculum for his digital academy, his membership program, his digital university, online university, whatever you call. And because it was consulting and I was actually doing the work, not coaching him through the work, the fee was about $12,000.
Okay.
To do that. And it was an amazing experience to see that in my bank account. And it's funny because I went to the bank to talk to my personal banker who I knew really well, who knew me really well. And I wanted to understand some of the charges or why some things had happened the way that they had with my bank account. He said, well, I don't know because I've never seen it happen with a balance this large. That's when it struck me that it was a big deal. I was like, wow, I kind of made some money with this because, back then I was hunting and eating in the same place.
Yes.
So, you know what I mean? So I wasn't thinking, oh, I get to reinvest this or I get to save this. I was thinking, what bills can I pay with this? And so it was fun just to see his reaction and hear him comment on it and go, wow, that is a chunk of money for me.
So talk about fun and talk about celebrating. How did you celebrate when you looked and saw your bank account?
Well, I like clothes. I'm not big on shoes necessarily, but I like clothes. So I bought myself a new outfit. Yes.
So what has helped you when you thought about giving up on your business? When you look back and you think about those times, and I know that we've had lots of conversations over the years, and I can even remember you having a conversation with me about trajectories of business, how some businesses like boom, but when you're talking about entrepreneurs, how it literally is a roller coaster. It's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. So there are so many, dark nights that at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning as an entrepreneur, you're sitting there staring at the ceiling saying, is the money in here? Do I have the opportunity to pay this person? Should I drop it? Should I not? So when you look back, what has been the catalyst for making you sustain and stay in the game for 18 years?
Well, I think it's a couple of things. I think having a depth of patience is crucial. Like you just don't know, things don't happen overnight, right? And so you've got to understand that what you're doing today, especially in your marketing efforts, you may not reap the rewards of that for 90 days or 6 months. It takes a while for that to filter through all of the systems and everything that you're putting out there. So patience is one thing. The other thing that I've learned is commitment. You've got to stay committed to your purpose. You've got to stay on target with your goals. And then finally, you've got to be consistent, because it's not enough for you to put something out in social media or post something or make one phone call. You've got to be consistent over a long period of time. Case in point, this particular podcast, I've made a commitment to do it for 2 years. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but I'm committed to 2 years. That means in 6 months when I'm feeling weary, I can't give up. That means in 9 months when a guest cancels on me, a big guest or whatever cancels on me, I can't give up because I've committed to doing it for more than 2 years. So those are the 3 things that have helped. And then on a personal level, sometimes when you're in that dark space, that dark place, you've got to use whatever tools you have to pick yourself up. So for me, it's affirmations, it's prayer, it's, revisiting my vision board. It's going back and listening to some wonderful audio of a coaching session that I've done. Because when I'm in coaching, I'm on it, right? Yeah. So it's going back and kind of reminding myself of how good I really am and reminding me to stay connected to purpose.
It's reminding yourself of how undeniably fierce you are, right?
Yes, exactly.
Let me tell the world who I am. Let me introduce you to Wendy Y.
Yeah.
And why you need me. Okay. Last question I have for you is outside of business, because we've been talking about a lot of business. We've been talking about conversations and all that stuff. We are holistic people. Yes. And so, there's a totality. And if there's not, then that's a problem. So when we talk about just being complex individuals and outside of work, what's the greatest accomplishment that you have ever experienced, or are you most proud of, rather?
That's so easy for me. It's my 30-year-old son.
Okay.
I'm a single mom, have always been a single mom from his birth. And he and I are very close. He's the apple of my eye. He is smart as a whip. He is certified as a life coach. So I'm just so proud of him. He's the best thing I've ever done.
Oh, excellent.
Best thing I've ever done.
Yay. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure to have the opportunity to interview you on the dawn of something great. My intention, and I am putting it out there, I just know that you're going to change a lot of lives through having a lot of really profound breakthrough conversations that crack open and shift the paradigm of the way that people are thinking. There's a lot of fear out there when it comes to money. There is a lot of fear out there when it comes to worthiness, when it comes to asking someone to accept what you're bringing to the table, and a lot of times causes a lot of people to play a lot smaller. And so I know after 18 years, I know you've been doing the work. I've watched you. I have watched you online. I am blessed that we had the opportunity to connect, and blessed that I had the opportunity to come and just introduce you and show you to the world, because I think that they're in for a big treat.
Thank you so much. Being a member of a business mastermind can lead to exponential growth in your coaching business and in your bottom line. But how do you know if the mastermind is right for you? The right mastermind offers an opportunity for you to discover new growth insights and proven business strategies while putting them into practice with the right tools to grow and scale your coaching business. The right mastermind connects you to other high-achieving coaches so you can partner and collaborate. The right mastermind guides your efforts to grow and scale your coaching business. In just a few days, I'm hosting an information call so you can discover how to reserve your seat in the Profitable Coaches Mastermind. You can get all the details at profitablecoachesmastermind.com. You're invited to join this group networking and strategy call, and it's absolutely free. And so is the mastermind. That's right, the Profitable Coaching Mastermind is a high-value complementary opportunity for you to discover how to grow your coaching business. It's also a hands-on workshop designed to offer strategy to scale your coaching business. It's also an activation session with implementation tools you can use to grow and scale your coaching business. That's right, the Profitable Coaching Mastermind is totally complimentary. So save your spot so you can discover how to join the mastermind. This is not a sales call. Nothing will be sold. There will be no selling. There will be no offer. It is an opportunity, so save your spot. This is your opportunity for a collaborative interview, and you get to ask questions and get answers. Hi, Income Acceleration Mentor WendyY Bailey here, and I'm so excited about the Profitable Coaches Mastermind. The information call is designed to give you a little bit more information about it and for you to sort of decide if it's the right time for you at this point. Remember, the information call is complimentary, and so is the mastermind. I'm so excited about it because I got to tell you, I have pulled 3 key pieces out of my body of work. We're going to talk in the mastermind about predictable coaching income. We're going to talk about business operations, and we're also going to talk about how you put your productivity into overdrive to create the sustainability in your coaching business. So be sure to sign up for the information call. I'm going to give you all the skinny when we meet, and I hope to see you in the mastermind as well. See you then. Welcome back, you guys. Thank you so much for sharing this inaugural episode of Profitable Coaching Conversations. I thought it would be a great idea to kind of give you a glimpse into what's in store and what you can expect. Well, as you heard earlier between Jennifer and I, there's a lot of conversation that's going to happen on each episode. I handpicked the first 20 or so guests, and they're amazing. The interviews are going really, really well. The conversation is rich and deep. And the Profitable Wisdom segment is sort of our signature segment for the podcast. And what you're going to find is you're going to learn so much just in those 5 questions that our guests share their responses to. That's really going to help support you in your business and your life as well. So I hope you will stay plugged in. Be sure to subscribe wherever on all platforms. I want to thank you, Jennifer, for interviewing me, for being my friend and being so present in my life over the years. And I look forward to supporting you as you continue with personalelevation.com. Her information is going to be in the show notes, so be sure to look for the show notes. And I also want to invite you guys to participate and join the Profitable Coaching Society. Details are in the links below. Thanks again, everybody. I'll see you soon.
Thanks so much for tuning into Profitable Coaching Conversations with WendyY Bailey. Be sure to join us at the after party at www.profitablecoachingsociety.com. We'll see you next time for more sales and marketing wisdom and insight from WendyY and her amazing guests. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you know when new episodes are posted.
Bye.